Hey there, welcome back to my renovation vlog. Today is Monday, April 22nd, week 15 of my progress here, and it's all moving along very, very quickly all of a sudden. And so if you haven't met me yet, my name is Karen McMillan, and I am planning, designing, and for the first time actually managing the construction phase of my renovation instead of hiring a general contractor. I try to release an update every single Monday, both on my YouTube channel and on my website. So subscribe for regular updates there, where I share all of my tips and tricks and lessons from one very cost-conscious homeowner to another. Okay, so this week, what's been happening, or last week rather. Last week, in my previous update, I told you about how I was having all these meetings with the structural engineer or the architect and my structural contractor guy who's going to be putting in the beams to replace all the load-bearing walls, and how we were going back and forth and on the call and having to create a solution that was more affordable for me, that just made more sense for the house. And so we've crafted that solution. So then this past week, I got the new quote back from the structural guy, which is almost as low as my original budget was for this part of the work. So that's really, really exciting. So I went ahead and signed him because I'm really excited about working with him. He's a really great guy, great company, all the insurance and everything's set up properly for us to be safe while we're doing it, and for all the I's to be dotted and the T's to be crossed. So I have a lot of faith in this company, and I think they're going to do a great job. I'm really excited about that. So we locked him in, and what we determined from that is that we're actually going to start May 27th. That is a firm date. I thought it was actually going to be into June, but then based on their schedule and how everything's going to work, it's May 27th. Today's April 22nd. That is 5 weeks from today that we are starting the actual structural work. So what I had to do once I booked that in is work back from there. Before we start the structure, what do I have to do? I have to complete all the demolition in the house, which we're doing ourselves to save money because the quotes that we've been getting back are crazy expensive. So we're doing all the demo, and we have to take all of the electrical and the HVAC out of the walls that are coming down, because that's just going to make it a lot easier for the structural guys rather than them having to go and clip wires and stuff and then having to figure out where everything goes. So we're going to get the electrician in to actually do that work first, who is not booked yet. So I've got to sort that out still. So working back from there, it means we need enough time to do the demo, and we've both got jobs and kids and lives going on. So we can't just sort of, commit to a full week or even 2 weeks of just demo life. So we've given ourselves enough time. And what does that mean? We're moving out of our house. Well, not out of our house completely. We're moving into the basement where we're going to live throughout this entire reno. It's going to be insane. So we're moving into the basement this coming Sunday, and we've just booked a moving truck for Monday morning. Next Monday, I will be moving, so I may not even get to an update. I will try my best next week. But we're going to actually be loading up all of the stuff to go to the storage locker next Monday. So we'll be living in the basement. And then once that's done, then we can start proper demo. We've already done little bits. You can see there's window trim from this window right here where I had to, because this window is turning into a bathroom. And so I've had to figure out what the dimensions are of the actual window structure, where it goes to the rough opening, so that I can replace it properly with the right dimensions. So we've already done a few little things, and I'm going to tell you more about another little thing I demoed in a couple minutes. So wait for that. It's like a big update. It doesn't seem like a big update, but it's sort of significant update is what it is. So that is all happening. So I have to go through and update my timeline a little more based on this new structural date and what it means, so that I can schedule in the rest of the trades and get those pieces actually moving now that we're booked in with the structure. Because that's the biggest thing in terms of just the order of operations. Can't do anything else until that structure is done. Once the structure is done, then we can do the HVAC. And then once the HVAC's done, we can do the plumbing and electrical. So that's sort of the stage of everything, and that's what I have to book. So, but the structure, everything was dependent on that. So now that is booked in, then I can go through and update the rest. So that's very exciting. The next update is that on Tuesday last week, I had an HVAC consultant come in. And an HVAC consultant is not just a person who updates the ducts. Actually, this guy doesn't do any of the actual work himself. What he does is assess the home's overall HVAC needs, what it's like based on the insulation, what kind of furnace you have, if you need an upgrade to the furnace, to make sure that the circulation's good, all that stuff. And in lots of renovations, this wouldn't be necessary. Like if we were just sort of taking down, if it was more of an aesthetic renovation, then we probably wouldn't need it. But because we're doing so much structural work and we're actually changing the locations of the rooms around, as well as the fact that the walls that are coming down are ones that are heavily laden with HVAC ducts and pipes and stuff. So those actually need to get rerouted. And so it's important to do that the right way versus just sticking them anywhere. Not just from the point of view of, well, this is like the wrong place to put it. Now I have this ugly bulkhead and why didn't we plan for this? That's definitely one of them, is to make it sort of functional from an aesthetic point of view in terms of where do I want stuff, but also in terms of, are the rooms getting enough supply? Is the right amount of air being pushed through to actually service all the spaces? Are the return air ducts and returns, like, are they in the right places? The right places, not just from a visual standpoint, where it's going to be the least annoying, but are they the right places to suck all that air out, return it back to the furnace, and get the circulation right? That's a really important thing. And because we're spending all this money on the reno, I didn't want to just ignore that piece and just sort of say, well, I'm sure we'll put them wherever we want. No, so we're trying to do the things the right way, and so part of that is getting this consultant in. So that was great. He came in. We had a really long, nice chat about everything. He said our furnace is in really good condition. It's actually relatively new, so they must have put that in right before we moved into this house, which is great. It's funny though. Everything was good, the whole chat, and then we go outside and we look at the air conditioner, and he goes, oh man. And I was like, oh God, what's wrong with the air conditioner? Like, is there a dead skunk in there or something? Like, what has happened? And he turns to me and he says, your furnace is so great, but this air conditioner is just builder grade. Okay. It's amazing what we get excited about, and then in contrast, disappointed about. I understand. I get excited about renovations and building and stuff, and we each have our thing. Anyway, that's just a funny story. But the one point of the story that I really wanted to share. So, we were going through and he's recommending, where to put the new return air duct upstairs, because we're moving the wall where the current one is. And so that's all fine. And then we go downstairs to the main floor, and I said to him, I said, look, in this little bump out here, I'm going to show you actually on the screen for context so that you understand. So let's pull up so right here. So this is my existing main floor layout, my as-built. Hello, where is this? Okay. I want to delete that. Okay. So this is my existing one. And so see this little tiny bump out here, right? It's very minimal. That's only about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. And so this little bump out here, I said to him, I think that there are supply ducts in this part of the wall that go upstairs somewhere to service the bedroom and bathroom that are up here. There's the bedroom here, and then there's a bathroom here. And I said, I think they're coming up through this right here. And he said, no, that won't be them. They're coming up, through here, because this is the return air for the second floor. He said, they'll just be squeezed into that. And I said, I really think they're in here. Like, I've spent a long time studying my own house, and I've gone through the process that is inside Renovation Planning Academy, where this is why I teach students this, is because I've mapped out my entire house, all of the plumbing, the HVAC, the electrical, the structure. Like, I know what's in my house. I haven't taken down a single wall or anything, but I know that this is in there because I've studied it and I've drawn it out, and I know where the joists are running. And so I figured out where they're going. And I said, I think they're in here. He said, no, don't worry about that. They're not in there. Ignore, so move on. I said, okay, fine. Anyway, later that day, after he had left, I said to my husband, look, I'm convinced they're in here. Let's open this up and prove it, because I think this is going to make a big difference. So sure enough, we opened it up, and of course, boom, they were in there. Okay. Here's a picture. I'm going to get the picture and I'll add it into this video. Here is a photo of the little hole that we made, which is clearly identifying 2 supply ducts going up to where I figured it was going, right? So they were going up to this section. Let me see if I can quickly turn on my tags here just to show. Are they here? Oh, over here. right? So here's the upstairs, but basically this is basically where it comes up here, and then it goes one over here to this vent, and then one over here to this vent. So that's what I drew for them back in my communication back to them. I said, look, this is what's on. This is where they're running in the ceiling here. So that's why they're not in this drawing. And so that was a critical difference. So he, based on that information, he actually went back and made alterations to the plan that he gave me now that he knew that. And what's interesting here is, before we opened up the wall, my husband said to me, do we really need to make this mess? Do we need to open this up right now? Like, what's the worst case that happens if we don't open this up, and we just wait until we go into, the demo phase and we find out then. And I said, and this is the core principle in all renovation planning, is that the more you know up front, the more you can plan for it, the better your end result will be. So because we figured that out now and we confirmed it, the HVAC consultant was able to update the plans, and that way that's what is going into the city for the permit approval, is this updated plan that's actually based on reality instead of just a guess, because his guess was wrong. And if we hadn't updated it, then we would have had plans go to the city and then come back to, whoever I get to do the installation, and they would have been wrong. And we would have had to make decisions on site while we're trying to figure stuff up. And that is never as good as being able to plan ahead of time, right? Things will come up. There will be surprises. I know that. But the more surprises that we can eliminate, the better the end result of the construction phase will be. So that is always my main goal, and that's why I insisted on making this whole, and it turns out I was right, and that's going to save us down the road. Definitely will, in terms of either mistakes that we might make, or just in time, or being able to say, oh, well, all of a sudden, the HVAC guy's there and we didn't plan for this, so now he's got to go back and get more materials, or it's going to be an upcharge that we weren't expecting. Those are the types of things that happen when you don't have a good plan and you don't have things documented, right? So at least this way, I can get HVAC people to quote on the actual plan as accurate as I can possibly make it based on what I know. And then it's easier to make changes on the fly if we need to, because they should be fewer overall, and they can be based on actual facts. So they'll give me a quote based on what the actual plans are, not about just conjecture on what we're guessing. So that's why I always insist on trying to do as much as we can ahead of time in the planning phase. So that's really exciting. And I think that was the biggest thing that we did last week, was figure out some of the HVAC. And then what that means, of course, is I'm trying, now that we have the plan and I know where the ducts are running, then I can go back and finalize my layout for the cabinetry and sort of where everything's going on my interior finishes, because as much as possible, I'm going to try and hide those ducts behind built-in cabinets, or I've got a bookshelf going in the corner. So I'm going to try and integrate them in as much as possible so that I don't have bulkheads or, things jutting out into the wall. So that's what I was working on last week. And so I'm just going to finalize that, and that way I can get my cabinetry order in. And really just finalize my interior layout, which is key because I need to obviously start booking all of these trades. So I need to nail this down now. And that's what I'm going to be working on this week, and finalizing and getting all of these people lined up, as well as spending quite a bit of time packing up my house because we are moving downstairs. So that's going to be my week. It's going to be a little hectic. Say goodbye to the last of my office, whatever is left of it. Even now, I've already packed up my books and lots of other things. It's just the plants. What am I going to do with the plants? I need someone to plant it so they don't get all dusty, because there's not enough light in my little damp, dark basement. Actually, it's not damp, but it is dark. It's the basement. Anyway, that is your update for this week. It's not a huge update, but it's there's lots of little moving pieces at this point. So I will see. I will try and squeeze in a little update for you next week, although we will be moving. So we will see. Anyway, have a great week, and I will talk to you very soon.